There is no money, there is not job opportunities, but scarcity also can look like always researching the things that you want to implement. Maybe is you are researching how to launch the product or the service that you want to do, but you don't actually ever do it. Welcome back to the show. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about money mindset reset. And before I keep going with the show, I do have a huge favor to ask, and that I'm super transparent with how I intentionally ask you for a favor. Okay. So, what I want you to do is if you watch this episode on YouTube, please leave me a comment below or subscribe to the channel because we have a good audacious goal for this year. And so we want to keep amplifying the content around personal finance, money, and wealth building, as well as continue to bring you relatable information. At the beginning of the year, everyone has a long list of resolutions that, sadly enough, are completely dismissed by February. So let's talk about this concept of money mindset reset. So at the beginning of this year, I did what I typically do, which is let me go on social media and find out some chisme on what's happening, what are people talking about. And there was a lot of conversations around new year, new you. And if you are part of this community, there is not such a thing for us. We've always been hustling and busy, and especially right now with everything going on in our community, a new you doesn't feel okay. And so I decided to take the last month of December that I typically plan my next year, and I said, you know what? I don't want to plan anything, which I will dive into that here shortly. But I just said, I really want to understand how can I get a money reset rather than starting from ground zero. And so rather than thinking about what are the goals that I want to have this year, I started differently. And take note, please, if you can safely take notes, start thinking about what were some of the money habits that worked so well for you last year? For some of you, it might look like having a stable job. For some of you, it might look like having income that allows you to live, essentially paying for your living expenses, or maybe a job that allows you to go places. Okay. For some of us is having enough runway in the business to slow down and to even consistently paying our team and ourselves, right? And so this year, I don't want you to start thinking about these, I'm going to sprint towards these money goals or habits, but rather add it in what worked well for you, okay, last year. The second thing that I want you to implement this year, and notice that I'm using the word implement, okay? I want you to look at all of the money knowledge that you gained last year or even years prior, but you're not applying. I still remember the day when one of my coaches and advisors came to the podcast and she gave us her definition of wealth. And her definition of wealth was apply knowledge. And it completely blew my socks off because what a beautiful thing to say, especially to us, that we often struggle with perfectionism, which brings me to my point. Sometimes when we're thinking about scarcity, we think of the lack of. There is no money, there is not job opportunities, but scarcity also can look like always researching the things that you want to implement. Maybe is you are researching how to launch the product or the service that you want to do, but you don't actually ever do it, right? And so what I want you to do this year, and I'm looking at some notes right here because I just had this quote that I was like, that is so like just mind blowing. And I want you to look at this, okay? So scarcity doesn't always look like not having enough. It also means that for some of you, you are already thinking about, I'm going to go get my master's or even your PhD. And so we have to really unlearn this belief that more certifications are going to make us wealthier. If anything, it's going to put us more into debt or is going to hold us back from implementing the money systems that take minutes, okay? It doesn't take months. So the other thing that I want to talk about is I personally want to stop looking good on paper. Okay. I said this before, but also with the podcast, with the show, with the partnerships that I'm working on for this year, those partnerships that I'm sharing with all of you through the newsletter and even through the podcast are very intentional, but also I don't want to just tell you, hey, I partner with X, Y, and Z, or hey, I'm having a brand deal with X, Y, or Z, or I land my first keynote with this college or university. Like, I actually want you to know that I'm doing intentional work to make sure that I'm also honoring the fact that I want to make more money this year. Okay. So for you, if you are a money coach, an entrepreneur, a mujer in a 9 to 5, I don't want you to just look good on LinkedIn profile because it's so cool to show your credentials. I want you to look at your money and say, is my money reflecting the value that I'm bringing to the table this year? And not just this year, but moving forward, right? And so don't wait for that certification. Reevaluate also what is making you believe that you need another one. I've shared before with all of you that I'm part of a high intensity tech bootcamp, and I'm doing this tech bootcamp because I want to continue to create systems for my business that are going to help me essentially be the person that shows up to coaching calls, that shows up to record the podcast, and everything else is like flowing. Okay. That's my dream. So I am essentially gaining new skills. Notice how I didn't set a certification, a new skill set that is going to help me bring more value to my own company, but also potentially for something else that I want to do in the future. Okay. AI, it's not going anywhere. And I've been saying this for now probably 3 years. You need to embody AI and you need to start leveraging AI and you need to start learning AI, especially if you are a Latina professional in education, you're a Latina professional that works for non-for-profits, Latina professional who is helping our community during these times of uncertainty. AI can help you, okay? There is such a thing as AI for good as well. And so we can stay paralyzed on the narrative of, oh my God, AI is taking jobs or AI is bad, or we can embody the narrative of AI can also use for good. Last year in September, I attended an event here in Seattle, Washington, where we were talking about AI for good with a very important person from Microsoft. I don't quite remember his title, but when he showed up to the room just went silent because this guy is all about equity and also knowing how we can use AI for good to preserve things. I want to leave you with that, okay? When it comes to money mindset reset. Right now, we are going through so much by the minute, so much that every time we go on social media, particularly on Instagram or even TikTok, there are so many things that are happening fast paced that are affecting you, not just psychologically, but also your body is starting to feel even more afraid than any other time. And so, what I want you to do is, I want you to embody this mindset reset when it comes to also time. How are you utilizing your time? When things are bumpy or uncertain, are you consuming a lot of the things that are feeling you like you don't belong? Are you consuming the things that are telling you that you're not going to get ahead? And so, I'm going to tell you one of the things that I did for my mental health, but also to really fully embody this money mindset reset. So a couple weeks ago, I got on my email and I unsubscribe from any offers that I ever get except the ones where I support Latina brands. So I am subscribed from the brand clothing that I typically buy for when I go hiking or skiing, makeup, shoes, furniture, even some of the, this is gonna sound so funny, but I was still subscribed to some of the platforms when my nenas were babies. And so I was like, my nenas are no babies anymore. So I did a detox of my inbox to really embody this money mindset reset, right? Because money is energy. And if I'm always getting all of these emails or alerts on 20% off of X, Y, and Z, and I'm always like, yeah, I need another pair of shoes, or yeah, I need a 20% off. But then I'm not doing some of the inner work that is required to know why am I always buying things. And so I will tell you that ever since I unsubscribed from probably 120 plus companies that are non-Latina. Again, I am still subscribed to Nopalera, Bloomy. I'm still subscribed to like all of these products that I consume for my hair, self-care that are Latina owned. Nicastro, of course, I stay there because I love fashion, but also just physically doing this money reset habit, I feel like it allowed me to give me more space for what I really need to do to be successful in this year, okay, 2026. So I want to talk about how you can make money because that's also part of a reset, right? We need to be able to know how are we going to make money this year. A money reset also involves mastering the art of negotiation. And I talked about this before through salary negotiations, but one of the practices that I'm implementing this year is I am going to be really good at two things, okay? One is the art of negotiation, which I am negotiating everything that I can when it comes to my living expenses. For my healthcare, I'm looking at other opportunities to make sure that I am getting obviously the premium care that I need, but also that I'm not spending premium fees for that. Maybe this week, your task is to evaluate, hey, have I contacted the cable company to renegotiate? Or even analyzing, hey, am I using subscriptions that are essentially giving me the same benefits and I'm not using? A good example of that is the streaming services. Do I have this even the time to look at this streaming service? And so I am seriously doing a detox of everything that doesn't support my community right now. And to be honest, some of those streaming services are not doing that. And so just evaluate like how are you going to show up this year? And so in this channel and on the podcast as well, we have so many conversations with mujeres that are side hustling in different industries with the gifts that they have. And so give yourself time to bench those episodes and also to take action because aligned action is what's going to help you embody what it's like to feel wealthy this year. And for those of you that are not taking care of your body, you have to, okay? Many of you know through Instagram that I had a health scare that happened to me just a few days ago. And let me tell you, what a crazy wake up call, right? Like I consider myself to be an active person. I consider myself to be a fit person and I'm eating healthy and I'm doing all of these things. But I realize that I need to also integrate all the things that I was not doing. And why wasn't I doing it? Because I was busy scrolling on Instagram, right? Like I do it too. Like I'm super guilty of it. So let me just recap the episode for you, okay? So your money mindset reset is going to come by auditing or reevaluating what are the things that work well for you last year or even years before and continue to implement those things this year. The other part is going to be through you being adaptable with the changes that are happening with AI and embodying the fact that you got to learn it. Like there's no if or when, is I will do it. The other thing is shifting how you think about scarcity. It is not just about the lack of money, it is also about the lack of action. And then lastly is how can you monetize without more credentials? Somewhere on the podcast, I talk about how I really want to master negotiation. The other skill that I want to master is the skill of sales. I remember one of my coaches long time ago saying like, I just want to be really good at sales this year and until I master it. And so for me, that is something that I am truly committing to doing this year. And that's why I'm sharing that with you. I want to become so good at sales because I know that sales for our company equates to cash flow. which equates to more opportunities to have an amazing team and also opportunities to continue to create the impact that I want to bring through the podcast and through the book that I'm launching later on this year. So, I want you to tell me what are some of the things that you are going to do to embody this money reset. And I want you to tell me actually, like I'm challenging you to screenshot the episode, tag me on Instagram and say, Lucy, this is something that I want to do. Okay. So don't avoid action because it feels hard. Embody action because that's how things are going to change. And again, take care of your health. There are so many things happening at a fast pace, and we just need to slow down and breathe. And yes, continue to show up for our community, but not at the expense of our own health. Okay. Las quiero mucho. Thank you so much for listening. And if this episode make you feel inspired, please leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts. And thank you again. Let's go ahead and build wealth juntas. Hasta la próxima. Bye.